Good evening and welcome back to the Sounding Pod. We have an exciting first guest today. You might know him from the titular series Dracula Flo, John Davis Walker. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Excited to have you on.
Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely.
Really appreciate it.
Your story's much more interesting than many people will just assume, okay, Dracula, they I'm just I'm so curious to see how in the world did this actor journey start for you? What made a ship captain go, "Hey, I want to get into Hollywood"?
Okay. Well, as you know, I did 20 years in the Merchant Marine. Okay, I retired in
Yes, sir.
2000, and I was 45 years old,
Yeah,
and so I'm like, well, I got to do something, right?
yeah,
And my first job. The reason I'm saying this because I want to tell you this story.
of
You're
course.
gonna love this story.
I sure will.
Okay, my first job after the Merchant Marine was raising money for oil and gas wells. I was living in
No
Houston,
kidding.
Texas. And basically, it's a telemarketing job. You call people up and you say, hey, can you
Yeah.
send me some money? And this is what I got. Anyway, I happened to meet a woman,
Mhm.
and she was in Waco, Texas, about 200 miles away. And she fell in love with my voice over the phone.
Yeah. I can believe
She
that.
sent me she sent me $20,000.
No kidding.
Yeah. Not for
Wow.
me, for the,
Yeah,
oil and gas
yeah,
investment,
yeah.
which she lost all of her money because it was a bogus investment. And the guy who was running that, he just got out of, prison in Texas. He got 20 years
Oh
for
my god.
investment fraud. But anyway, so she sends a 20,000 in, and we continue talking, and then she calls up my boss and says, "I wanna meet him." And so my
Wow.
boss tells me, and I said, I don't know this woman. I don't want to go meet her. And he goes, look, take your ass over to Waco, go meet the woman. She's going to give you more money.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, that's true. Okay. And so I drove over to Waco, got there, and the night before I
Yeah.
went, she and I talked on the phone for 8 hours,
No
and she was
kidding.
kind of yeah, and she was a Southern Methodist,
Oh,
and
yeah.
she's like, I want you to know that you're not coming over here and we're having sex. I said,
Whoa.
okay, fine,
Yeah.
lady. Oh yeah,
This
that's
is a
fine. I've
business
never
call, right? Yeah.
seen. They didn't have video phones or anything back then. I
Yeah.
okay, fine. So I drive over there, meet the woman, pick her up. We go to about 6 o'clock. We pick her up. I pick her up, and we go to dinner, and that's about 3 hours. No, 2 hours, and then we're
Yeah.
back at her house. And 3 hours we're fucking. You know,
Damn.
And so anyway, this is in Waco, right?
Yeah.
And so she she doesn't want me to leave. She wants me to
Mm.
stay with her. And
Wow.
she's rich, got a
Yeah.
beautiful freaking house. And so uh I called my boss up and I said, "You know what, boss? Don't need you anymore."
That's
You know.
awesome.
And this woman literally gives me credit cards. I'm 45 years old
40 at 45. Man alive, freshly retired. Wow.
and I'm a gigolo.
Yeah, yeah.
And so she gives me credit cards, and she's a socialite in Waco. And
Yeah.
so I'm in the social circles now, running with
Wow.
them. And so you couldn't be unemployed
No.
in those circles, right?
No.
So I had to go get a job because everybody knew she
Yeah.
was 10 years older than me, and so everybody knew
Woo!
I was a gigolo.
Yeah.
And so I went and got a job at the local TV station, the ABC TV
No
station,
kid. Wow.
KXXB. And so the job I'm doing is minimum wage,
Yeah.
graveyard shift, master controller. Nobody watches TV late at night.
Yeah.
So you just download the feed from the network, for the next day,
Yeah.
and you put the bullshit shows on that come on
Yeah.
in the middle of the night.
But at least
And
it's a
so that's
job, right? Yeah.
right. But I'm working at a TV station, and in her social circle is the anchor of the evening news. So, hey, I'm hooked up. This woman,
Wow.
the anchor, she likes me. We become friends. And then my girlfriend's all happy because I work at a TV station.
Yeah.
But anyway, do you know what happened in Waco, Texas,
Yeah.
with David
The
Koresh and all
Koresh,
that?
yeah, that cult, man, big deal. Yeah. Were
Okay,
you in Waco at
that
that
was it.
time?
Huh?
Were you in Waco at that time?
No, I was in Waco 7 years later.
Oh, wow. Aftermath. Okay.
Okay. So there's nothing to do in Waco,
Yeah.
Texas, except the Texas Ranger Museum
Yeah.
and the
It's
Dr.
Baylor,
Pepper
right? Yeah.
Museum.
But
Yeah,
yeah.
it's nothing in Baylor. Yeah.
Yeah. I got a friend
And
in Waco. Yeah.
oh, you do?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
And so I saw the whole Branch Davidian thing from
Yeah.
on TV from Miami, Florida,
Hmm.
and it just interested me. And you'll understand why
Of
in a
course.
minute. Okay. And so that whole thing interested me. You know, David Koresh leading
Yeah.
a cult of 80 people. You know, all these hot ass
Yeah.
girls. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
That interested me, right? And
Hmm.
so anyway, so I started going. It's not actually in Waco. It's outside of Waco, a little town called Elk.
Okay.
And so I drove out there, and they're Seventh Day Adventists, so they worship on
Yeah.
Saturday. And so it's already burnt down, and there's nothing there but a couple of double wides and a motor home, and people are
Yeah.
living like that in it. And then they had one block building left after the massacre or whatever you call it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I drive the first couple of build. Oh, there is a building, and they use it for like a
Yeah.
gift memorabilia shop.
Okay.
Anyway, so when I get on the property, I go there and then look at things you can buy and shit like that.
Yeah.
And then I drive around to the back of it, and it's on a Saturday. And so there's this block building. And so I go up to the block building and knock on the door. And these people open the door and they're like, oh my God, hi. There's just nice,
Yeah.
religious people,
Yeah. I
the
know the
kind.
type.
You're from
Yes, sir.
Arkansas.
Yeah.
And they're just, Jesus loves you, blah, 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 blah. And so I was like, oh, okay, great. And so anyway, I meet a woman there
Hmm.
at the Branch Davidian compound.
Yeah.
And this is what she told me. She told me when I walked in the door, the angel told her that this is, or not the angel, the Holy Spirit said to
Yeah.
her, this is the man you've been waiting for your whole life.
Oh my God.
And she was a 36-year-old virgin. She had
Hmm.
saved her virginity for Jesus
Yeah. Of
because
course.
in their religion, when Jesus comes
Yeah.
back, he's going to have, you've
The
heard the
bride of
gospel,
Christ. Yeah. Yeah.
right? Oh, there
Yeah.
you go.
Yeah.
Right. And she wanted, and they're polygamous, so she's going to be one of many.
Yeah.
And she had saved it for Jesus, literally.
Yeah.
And so I got the rich girlfriend, and then I meet this woman, and I'm like,
Yeah. The
never had a
Koreshite in the
virgin.
back. Yeah.
Yeah, never had a virgin before, and they're hard to find unless you're
Yeah.
underage, right?
Yeah.
And then you're going to jail if you mess up.
Yeah.
And so, anyway, so she and I become friends, and I'm secretly dating her behind the rich
Yeah.
woman's
Oh
back,
man, alive. Yeah.
and I end up getting,
Yeah.
and so and she was a virgin. Uh, I wasn't impressed by any
Yeah.
means.
Well. Yeah. Of
And
course.
if I
Yeah.
had the choice of ever doing it again, I would say no.
Yeah.
I've
It's
been
just cool
with
to
too
say that
many.
you've done it, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I've been with too many prostitutes that are way more
Yeah.
fun in bed.
Yeah.
And
But none of them were Koreshites. That's the thing. That's the
true,
thing that's special.
but you got to have that one notch, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
And
Yeah.
so anyway, so she tells me that she wants me to become a member of their cult because the Branch
Yeah.
Davidians still exist. It's just
Really?
another guy that runs it now.
Wow.
And he thought that, I mean, he knew that she was a virgin and they're
Mhm.
polygamous. He was married. He thought he was going to be able to marry her and she was going to be a
Ooh.
second
Oh,
wife.
no.
And he knew she was a virgin.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? She wasn't no more.
Yeah.
And so, anyway, uh, Charlie comes to me and says, "We're going to let you in the cult,
Yeah.
but if you want to be with Margaret, you're going to need to go get circumcised because they believe in the Jewish
Yeah.
traditions,
Of
right?"
course. Yeah.
And I'm like,
What?
"No, what are you
Yeah.
crazy?" I said, "I'm 45 years old. I'm not
Yeah.
getting circumcised." And he's like, "Well, then you'll never be able to be with Margaret." And I was like,
Well,
"Dude, I've
too
already
late.
been with
Yeah.
Margaret."
Yeah, too late, brother. Sorry. Yeah.
But anyway, the reason why I tell this, the story is called the 36-year-old virgin. The only
Yeah.
time I've ever told this story before was on the Nikki Glazer show.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
so I like telling the story because it's really fucking
Yeah.
unbelievable.
Yeah, it's a hell of a
And
jump
so
off point. Good God. Yeah.
do I know?
It's a hell of a jumping off point from you're just slowly moving west onto Hollywood from Louisiana to Waco to wherever the hell up you end next, you know?
Exactly. And so, but I like I said, I watched that David Koresh thing on TV when it all went down. I've always had the dream to lead a cult.
Yeah, of
I've
course.
always wanted to do that.
Yeah.
Well, guess what the cult of Dracula is?
It's you've now got
It's
the opportunity.
yeah, I've got I lead this cult.
Yeah.
And it's like my dream came true. And I
Yeah.
want you to know about Hollywood. Hollywood I never dreamed about. I never
Really?
thought, yeah, when I grew up, I didn't think, man, I want to be an actor. I never took a drama class in my life. I've never
No
taken
kidding.
an acting class to this day.
Wow.
And I have over
Yeah, I was about to
500
say, I was literally
acting
about to say
credits.
about over 500, not a single acting class or nothing.
Not
Yeah.
one.
Wow.
Not one. And
Wow.
it and acting is it's a racket out here.
Yeah.
They find the people in the business that can't get work find
Yeah.
ways to take money from the people that are actually working.
Yeah.
It makes me sick. I mean, and they all do. I can be a coach, and I look at their credits, and
Hmm.
they might have a couple of credits.
Yeah.
I got a few hundred
Yeah,
credits.
you could be
What
an
I
acting
need you to
coach and
teach me
yeah,
for.
hand over
In fact,
fist,
I
yeah.
did an acting gig last night. Did
Mhm.
you saw the one I posted? Wearing the weird glasses.
Yes, yes, yeah.
Okay, that one. The guys that booked me on that, they said to me, they said when we saw your picture, we knew you were an actor and you knew what the hell you were doing.
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah,
And it wasn't even a
yeah,
headshot; it was like a full body shot.
yeah, and you're saying,
And
"Yeah,
so,
of course." Yeah,
and so, hey, but anyway,
yeah,
the back to the cult thing. I got,
of course.
I got that dream. You know.
Yeah.
Oh wait, Queen Ophelia just messaged me,
Oh, man.
but we can do this. Like she knows I'm doing this.
Oh, okay, great, cool.
Sure, that's
So
what it was about.
so in relation to you, what is this Queen Ophelia character in this cult? Where does she place?
She's Queen Ophelia, and she's actually going to be Queen Mother Coulter.
Hmm, interesting. How does
Hmm.
that compare to Dracula? Is that a 1A to the is it the 1A to 1B to 1A, or how does that is she under the Drac? Is it a circle?
Um,
Is it 3
no,
and 1?
actually, she's really equal. She could make any. You saw the post I put.
Yeah.
All Dracula cult members, please report for review. You
Yeah.
saw that?
Yeah.
Okay. She's she's essentially she can do whatever she wants.
Hmm,
She can post whatever she wants. Uh,
interesting.
you know, and just so you meet women,
Yeah.
and some you think you like their bodies. Well,
Mhm.
I love this woman's mind,
Yeah. That's
and I'm
those
gonna
are the
tell you a
special ones,
secret.
yeah.
I'm gonna tell you a secret.
Yes, sir.
I've never met her.
Man alive. No kidding. Hmm.
No, She lives
Just
in Tennessee.
Tennessee?
Yeah.
Wow.
I would have gone to Tennessee this week to meet her, but I can't get in there because of goddamn snow.
Oh, yeah, Memphis is real bad right now. Yeah,
Exactly.
iced
Well,
out,
she
yeah.
lives by Knoxville.
Okay.
But, anyway, we started texting and talking and stuff, and I just like this woman's mind.
Yeah,
And she
yeah,
also happens to be hot too.
yeah,
Uh, but you know, we met through the cult, through Dracula Flow,
yeah,
and then she and I kind of invented Cult of Dracula
yeah.
together. And
I
okay,
mean, that's had such a huge is that the biggest project you've been involved in, Dracula? It feels like it's been pretty impactful on internet culture. I don't know if you've noticed that or not, but it's been huge.
I,
And
I don't even understand
you don't
that.
understand
I
it?
honest
Really?
to God, no. Mm-mm. I
It's
mean, I've done all those gigs. I mean, I've been in major motion pictures. I was
yeah,
in Vice,
yeah,
uh, Ford v
yeah,
Ferrari. I've been on every show you can think of. I've done
yeah,
every music video.
yeah.
Uh, the
And you
biggest
said over
video,
500 credits. Yeah,
mhm, and the biggest video that I know of that Freddie Dread Cha
yeah,
Cha has
yeah,
25 million
yeah. I
views.
saw that. Yeah,
That's the
that's
biggest
crazy.
one.
Yeah.
But you saw, if I don't know if you saw it. Did you see it?
I've listened to the song. I've never watched the music video though.
Okay, I'm in it, and it's
Yes.
just I'm kind of like a background kind of guy
Yeah.
in it. I didn't have a
Yeah.
major role or anything,
Yeah.
but it got 25 million. But
Yeah.
and I didn't even know that until the Dracula Flow
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. Because Dracula Flow, especially on my generation, it's the comedy. It just seemed to resonate intensely. Just this with the what is that on the head? Is it a marker? Is it shoe polish? What is it? What was it?
It's
That's what I really
it's
want to know.
paint, some
It's
kind of
paint.
paint. Yeah,
They didn't. They just put a
they
paint
paint
on you
my.
and let it go.
Hmm.
That's awesome. How'd you get that gig? Did they call you? Did you
Okay,
call
I've been
them?
getting this question all
Yeah.
week.
Yeah.
How did you get Dracula Flow?
Yeah.
Craigslist.
No kidding.
Yeah,
Craigslist?
Craigslist. Yeah,
What they ask for? Just let me get an actor that could dress
we're
up as
looking for an
Dracula?
old one. We're
An
looking
old
for an
guy?
old guy. They didn't even tell me what it was. I didn't know when I walked in the room. I had no idea. But we're getting too much into that, so we got to
Yeah.
be careful.
Okay, cool. That'll be the last question I ask because I was curious like how in the world that can be arranged, but Craigslist, that's well, if anyone's wanting to be in a big viral hit, everybody go to Craigslist and see what's popping, especially if
I've
you're
been
old.
telling people for 10 years, if you're an actor and you want to book gigs, I book 95% of my gigs off of
Really?
Craigslist. Yes,
Wow.
95%.
I'm surprised that I mean in Hollywood I'd assume yeah that it's a bigger but wow. That's so how'd you get from
I paid for a casting service, 25 bucks a
yeah.
month. I might book 3 or 4 gigs a year off of it.
Mhm.
Because you got stiff ass competition on there.
Yeah.
But nobody goes on Craigslist to look for acting gigs. And
Yeah.
I tell them all, go to Craigslist, go to Craigslist, go to
And I
Craigslist.
bet they never
And
believe
but
you.
see, there's a key to Craigslist. See, if you go on Craigslist
Mhm.
once today and you look for acting gigs, there may not be any right now.
Mhm.
You look 5 minutes from now, there might be two of them.
Oh.
You know, if you go on Craigslist, which I do 100 times a day,
Yeah.
then
You gotta catch
you'll
one.
boom,
Yeah.
boom, boom, you'll pick them up. Hmm.
Wow.
I booked 3 gigs since January 1st off of Craigslist.
Wow. Man, the month's not even over yet. Holy crow.
No,
That's
mm-mm.
that's yeah. That's when'd you start using Craigslist?
Over 10 years ago. See,
No
when I
kidding.
started acting, I was really camera shy at first,
Yeah.
right? And for years and years before I even acted, I wouldn't even get in front of a camera. And for anything, you'd say, "Hey, want to take a picture?" No, I don't want to.
Yeah.
And so anyway, the highest paying shows that you can get are freaking court shows.
Really? Like a
Yes,
people's court sort
they
of thing?
yeah, People's Court, Judge Judy. I haven't done either of those,
Oh.
but I've done
Oh.
that.
Hmm.
And so I started doing these court shows, and there's some of them that you've never heard of because
Yeah.
they did the the initial episodes to
Mhm.
get production, and no one wanted to produce it. And so I
Really?
did some of those, but I got paid for them.
Yeah.
And in fact, that my highest paying gig was Chrissy's court, and I
Like
got to
Chrissy
hang out
Teigen?
with Chrissy Teigen. Got to hang
No
out with her
kidding.
and John Legend. And there's a video that you can watch, and it's Chrissy Teigen's first season, episode 4. It's called "That's a Wrap." You will see me rap for the first time ever
This is the
on camera.
precursor. This is oh, wow.
I wrote the rhyme myself and rapped it on Chrissy Teigen, and you will watch John Legend standing behind his wife going, "How'd you like your seats? You told me they were sweet." That's my lines. He was rapping.
So you've been a
John
rapper for a long
Legend.
time. Wow.
Yeah. The EGOT, Emmy, Grammy,
Yeah.
Oscar, Tony, rapping me. Boom.
That just means you gotta pursue a rapping career too after this. I don't know.
He told me the storyline on that was me and this guy, we've been friends since I came to Hollywood.
Yeah.
And we did almost all those shows together.
Yeah.
And so I would write a bullshit story
Yeah.
and turn it in, and they would pick the story over and over and
That's
over again.
hilarious.
And so anyway, the story is, well, it literally happened. I gave him $1,000. He didn't pay
Mhm.
me back.
Oh,
Okay, so but I've made 50,000 in return doing all these
yeah.
shows. And then he and I just did them together. And
Mhm.
so, but anyway, on that one, uh, I made, he owed me $1,000. He never paid me back. Chrissy's judged,
Yeah.
whether it was legit debt. And
Yeah.
I won the case, by the way. And, and I can
Oh,
send you the pics on, I
yeah.
got stills on that, and you can
I
watch
I
the
saw the
video.
stills. I saw the stills of it. Yeah. I just couldn't find the YouTube. Yeah.
Oh, it's not on YouTube. It's on Roku.
Roku. Okay.
You got to go to Roku.
All right.
Uh, there was a new. It happened like right before COVID,
Yeah.
and in 2019, and they had there was a brand new network started called
Mhm.
Quibi,
Yeah.
and
I've heard of
Jeff
that. Yeah.
Katzenberg, he
Yeah.
owned it. Like the billionaire,
Yeah.
and they started they started creating content for it, and
Mhm.
Chrissy Teigen show was
It
one.
was a Quibi
And
original? Okay.
yeah, but Quibi shut down. He shut it
Yeah.
down after 6 months.
Yeah.
Gone. And so then Roku took it,
Hmm.
and it's on Roku now, and you can watch it for free. I ain't got paid.
Yeah.
And so, but anyway, the storyline is the guy owes me $1,000. Okay, he happens to be a good cook.
Yeah.
He has him a little barbecue pit, and he makes steaks and chicken and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'd been eating over there for years. But
Mhm.
the way he tells the story, he's coming over and I'm cooking, and he's eating my food. Well,
Yeah.
I bought the food, you know,
Yeah.
so I got a right to eat it.
Mhm.
But anyway, we that's the storyline. And so anyway, John Legend looks at him, and he said, the guy's in his 50s,
Yeah.
and John Legend looks at him. He says, "Rap's a young man's game. Uh, maybe you should stick with cooking."
Oh, wow.
And John Legend actually heard one of his videos, and he's got like 100 videos on
Yeah.
YouTube. His name
Hmm.
is Lord G, and so he's got like 100 videos, and none of them ever got any views.
Oh, man.
And so John Legend said, maybe you should just stick with the cooking, and then. And this is the best thing you ever heard. Chrissy Teigen goes, "Your food is so good. If you want to open a restaurant, I want to back you." Right on
What?
camera. It's in the freaking video.
Hmm.
And you know what he did? I
What'd
told
he
him, I said,
do?
"You got Chrissy Teigen backing you, dude. You got to do this."
You
He
gotta
did
jump
nothing.
in.
He did nothing with
Well,
Chrissy Teigen. And so anyway, that was my first rap gig, but yeah, I got John Legend to rap my lyrics.
That's awesome. So how'd you get from Waco to Hollywood? What was the step after that?
Oh, okay. Uh, well, of course, seeing the Branch Davidian and the
Yeah.
rich woman, that imploded. And so I have to say about the rich woman, she was a nice lady,
Yeah.
but she was a little whack. You know, who
Yeah.
the hell's going
Well,
to invite
yeah. They
men
send you
into her house?
20,000 over phone call. That's never I wouldn't assume that's a pretty I wouldn't assume that's a sane person, but who am I to
Hmm.
judge, right?
And right in 6 months into the relationship, she literally drove me crazy.
Yeah.
And so that's why I was, hanging out with the Branch Davidian girl.
Yeah.
So she drove me crazy, and so somehow they connected. I don't know how. I mean, the Branch Davidian girl knew where I was living,
Yeah.
and she was like, "You're gonna have to move out of there. I don't like you living with another one." Blah 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 blah. And then you got to get circumcised, and I'm like, "That ain't happening. This is over with." Okay, and then the
Oh.
rich woman is driving me crazy, and so that's over with. And so I got the hell out of Waco. And well, the story you don't know is before Waco, and when I was still in the Merchant Marine, I was married. I've been married twice,
Yeah.
and so I was married to this gorgeous. She was a stripper,
Okay.
and she was freaking gorgeous.
Yeah.
And so she quit stripping when we were married,
Yeah.
and we have a son together.
Wow.
And anyway, November 28th, 1996, she's out stripping. We're married, living together. We got a son.
Yeah.
She goes out when I'm at work, which was running a rescue boat down in Biscayne
Yeah.
Bay in Miami.
Okay.
While I'm doing that, she's out stripping. And so I come in from work. I told her she couldn't do that, and we would get
Yeah.
a divorce if she did. And anyway, that particular night, she we get in a big argument. She ends up pulling a gun on me.
Oh my
Okay.
god.
And so she's holding our baby, who is like 2 years old, and she's got a gun in her hand. So
Holy
I didn't want to fight with her and get the
no.
kid shot.
Yeah.
And it was a little 25 Beretta,
Yeah.
and it wouldn't have hurt
Still.
me,
Yeah.
but it could have killed the baby.
Yeah.
And so anyway, I call 911. Hey, my wife's we're having domestic dispute. You need to send the cops over here. And then they say, are there any weapons involved? And I said, yeah, my wife's holding me at gunpoint. And so they said, okay. And they send the cops with a different code
Yeah.
that so they know there's guns involved and shit
Yeah.
like that. And so anyway, like I said, I didn't want to fight with her because she had the gun and the
Yeah.
baby. And so she's like, I'm leaving. And she runs out and puts the baby in the car and then drives off. So I wait for the
Okay.
cops. Her mom is there.
Oh no.
And her mom was an old hippie drug addict from Woodstock.
Oh wow.
And
Okay.
so she was still doing drugs. Let's see, Woodstock was 69.
Yeah.
27 years later, she's still doing drugs.
Wow.
And so anyway, she's like kind of the babysitter,
Yeah.
and which I didn't think she was real good at that because she stayed high all.
Yeah.
Anyway, so my wife disappears, and my mother-in-law is there with me, and then the cops show up. So I go out and I tell them the story. And while I'm outside, my wife calls,
Mhm.
and her and her mother talk together, and they concoct the story that
Oh
I pulled the
no.
gun on her.
No kidding.
Why do I need to pull a gun? She weighs 115. I weigh 230. I don't need a gun.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, anyway, my wife shows back up, and the cops see her, and she's so drop dead gorgeous. They freaking, she just bats her eyes at them. They're like, oh, baby, little
Yeah.
bitch cops. And
Yeah.
so, anyway, I get arrested and charged.
Wow.
And so, anyway, They put me in jail. A $6,000 bond. My boss bonds me out the next morning,
Yeah.
and and everything's fine. And so, but we have to separate. You
Yeah.
know, that's court order shit, right?
Yeah.
So we have to separate. Well, during the separation, I get really into drugs. I mean,
Oh,
like
no.
a lot of drugs.
Yeah.
And so I ended up selling crack on South Beach, Miami, on the streets. And I was making way more money selling
Yeah, I
drugs
can
than being
imagine.
a captain.
Yeah.
And so, anyway, with this like 4 or 5 months, she starts telling stories. I blew her off, okay,
Yeah.
completely. Fuck her, you know.
Yeah. Someone pulls a
And
gun on me, I'm not gonna it's not really bygones.
exactly,
Yeah, at that point,
yeah,
it's
we're
yeah,
done.
alright. Yeah.
So she start big, but see, she couldn't handle it because somebody didn't want her. And
Oh.
so, oh, and another thing, my cousin
Yeah.
worked for the guy who ran the Hotel Motel Association on South Beach, Miami, right?
Wow.
This is like
Yeah.
ritzy shit, right?
Yeah, that's a big deal.
And so uh, he was running for mayor, and so all these A-list clubs on
Yeah.
Miami Beach, they want him to come to their club because he's a
Wow.
politician now,
Yeah.
right? And so he's an older guy, and he don't want to go
Yeah,
get
they go to the
get
club,
in
yeah.
clubs, right? And so my cousin, that you have to send in for a guest list,
Yeah.
and so and you know how all those clubs are. They got velvet ropes and they got lines
Yeah.
down the block and shit. Well, she puts my name on the list. So I'm walking in these fucking clubs. I don't have to stand in line. I walk right to the
Wow.
thing. John Walker.
Yeah,
Boom.
so
You're
everybody's looking at you. Hmm, yeah.
exactly. Yeah. And so my wife found out that was going on. She fucking went crazy. And she starts telling these stories about how he's stalking me and all this shit.
What?
No,
Hmm.
I wasn't going near her. I didn't give a shit.
Yeah.
You're a stripper, go be a stripper. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
And so, anyway, she finds. So then she calls the cops. Says
Mhm.
he's been stalking me. She has no fucking proof whatsoever. But the cops call me, say, your wife's been says you've been stalking her. I said, dude, I ain't seen that bitch in 4 months. And
Yeah.
they said, well, will you come in and talk with us and give us a statement? I said, sure. So
Yeah.
next day I come in, talk to him, give him a statement. The motherfuckers arrest me. And on a
What?
stalking charge, they no bond you. So I
Really?
can't get out of jail anymore. So for the
Wow.
next 18 months, I'm in jail. I went to a criminal trial. That everybody on this case, they said to me, they said, look, if you just plead guilty, we're going to give you credit time served. I said, fuck you, I didn't do it. And they said,
Yeah.
well, well, we'll still give you credit time served. I said, you're not giving me shit. We're going to
Yeah.
trial. And
Yeah.
so I went to court. I went to court, went to trial, and lost the trial. Lost the
Wow.
fucking trial. And the worst thing you ever want to hear is when a jury foreman says, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty as charged. And I was just like, and
Wow.
I'm 37 years old. This is my first felony in my life.
Yeah.
And the felony has a minimum mandatory in the state of Florida of 3 years in prison.
Wow. Jeez.
And the judge goes, well, we don't have to do a sentencing hearing because it's a minimum mandatory. Mr. Walker, you got 3 years. And I went to fucking prison. And so for the next 18 months, well, as soon as I got to prison, first thing I did, they gave me a job. They give you a bunch of tests, right?
Really?
Yeah. And
Wow.
to see if you're smart and what your
Yeah.
skills are and shit like that. So I aced the tests, right?
Yeah.
Every one of them. And they said, we're gonna make you a law clerk. I was like, great. So I get
Huh.
into the first prison. I go in there, start studying law books, and this is how simple this was. I've never studied law in my life,
Yeah.
ever. I was a captain. And so I studied these law books for 3 lousy weeks.
Yeah.
Write the appeal. and turn it in. And 10 months later, the judges looked at it and said, hey, this guy's right. His appeal wins. Me, I never studied law, never wrote an appeal. I wasn't a lawyer. And the judges say he's right. And
No,
y'all got to turn
wow. That's
y'all got to turn
incredible.
him loose.
Yeah.
So what they do is you don't uh when you win an appeal, it says reverse and remanded for new trial.
Yeah.
They take you out of prison and put you back in jail.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's horrible.
And so I did another 4 months. I
Oh
did
my god.
4 months before I lost the trial, 10 months in the prison, and then 4 more months uh, after I won the appeal, and they took me from prison to jail. And so I've got 18 months in.
Yeah.
And so anyway, we go to, of course, they came to me and said, look, just accept the plea. We're giving you credit time served. You're going to be released. And I'm like, motherfucker, I will never accept your plea.
Yeah.
And you're fucked. I'm not accepting it. Okay.
Yeah. If the judge
And,
accept the
and so
appeal,
they
yeah, of
said,
course.
if we take you to
Yeah.
trial, we're going to enhance you this time. I said, do what you want. I'm not
Yeah.
going to take the plea. We go to a second trial. And the first trial, I helped pick a jury of women because I thought women would hate her because she was
Hmm.
beautiful, young, beautiful.
Oh.
I figured women are going to hate her ass. They freaking convicted me. So the second one, I thought, well, I'll help pick this jury too. We pick a jury of men, and the men acquitted me.
Oh,
Like, but this judge is so pissed off because he got beat on the criminal trial.
yeah.
I mean, he won the criminal trial. He got beat on the appeal, and it
Yeah.
mid him a laughing stock in
Yeah.
Miami.
That never happens.
Gerald Bagley, Judge Gerald Bagley, laughing stock. And so he
Oh,
might be dead by now,
well,
but he was like, I don't know, in his 50s, and this was 25 years ago.
yeah.
And so, but anyway, if he isn't dead, I hope he sees us. And so, anyway, he is so pissed off because he's a laughing stock because of
Yeah.
me.
Mhm.
This motherfucker refuses to sign the release order. And they left me sitting in jail with no charges for a month.
No
For,
kidding.
yeah, and the cell I'm in is a 35-man lockdown with murder. These are it's
Yeah.
called the Dade County Stockade with murderers, rapists, all the
Just the
fucked up people.
worst. Yeah.
And I'm in a cell with 35, 34 of them.
Yeah. Wow, that's horrible.
Yeah, it was. I was scared for my life. But you know what? You know what I did? I
What?
had all that. I was raised in a Christian family, sent to
Yeah,
private Christian
of
schools.
course.
You
Yeah.
know how South is.
Yeah.
And so, anyway, I knew the Bible back and forth.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I got something. So these guys are like, they want to. You know how everybody gets in jail and they want to find Jesus, right?
Yeah. Become a new
Well, I knew
man.
all
Yeah.
about him. I could tell you
Yeah.
everything you want to know about
Yeah.
Jesus. And so I became the preacher in that cell.
No
Ain't
kidding.
nobody putting a finger on my ass.
That's incredible.
These guys that were like your age, they come up to me. They were Latinos. They come up
Yeah.
to me and they said, "We don't like you in here, cracker. Get your shit and get out."
Oh my
And
god.
these other guys that were the Christian guys,
Yeah.
they said, "You touch him, we fuck you up." And
Holy
these
hell.
are my church buddies, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Preaching peace with the right hand. Good lord.
Exactly. They were going to fuck these guys up. And you know what? Those guys, the guys that told me to get out, they ended up
Yeah.
getting thrown out. But they just moved some more scumbags on.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so anyway, uh so I leave Miami and my life is fucking trash. Right.
Yeah.
And that's the end of my merchant marine career too.
Yeah.
And that's why I had to retire.
Yeah.
And so anyway, I end up back in Houston. I leave Waco, go back to Houston. And I met these people that were just like, they were just fucked up people.
Yeah.
And they did drugs all the time. All they
Mhm.
did was sit around and get high. And, I'm kind of in that kind of mind frame at that point.
Yeah.
You know, my whole
Of
life's
course.
fucked up. What I
Yeah.
give a shit. Right? And so, anyway, I started getting high with them. And then you got to support that habit. So then we started boosting at stores.
Yeah.
And, uh, and so I'm real good at that. I'm real good. And these guys were like little nickel and dime shit. I'm like, we're going to take
No.
this to the next
No
level.
kidding.
We're
Okay.
going to big stores like, Saks and Macy's. We're going there. We're not working freaking Blockbuster video no more.
Blockbuster?
We're,
Yeah.
you go in there and you steal a bunch
Yeah.
of DVDs. What you
Yeah.
do is you wear real back like sweatpants.
Okay.
You just drop them down your pants, walk out. And so I said, we're going here. And so we started doing that. And then through the course of that, I ran into some people that were in bank robbers. You didn't see that interview, did you?
No.
There's a red carpet interview, and I'll send you the link. You can take it and put it on your
Yeah.
this if you want.
Yeah.
Is this only audio or is it video too?
This will be on YouTube and Spotify, yes. This will have a video portion to it. Yeah.
Okay. I'll send you the link and you'll hear me on a red carpet in Hollywood
Yeah.
tell the story about robbing banks.
Oh my gosh. Ship captain, bank robber, the incarnation of Dracula. This is
Mhm.
incredible. Good lord.
And I got trouble. Oh, well, what you don't remember what I said about statute of limitations?
Yeah.
That story, for 20 years when I was a captain, I smuggled drugs internationally and I never got caught once. Not cartel shit,
Yeah,
personal
I was
use.
about to curious. Yeah. Just in the
Biggest
Gulf?
stuff I ever smuggled was a key.
Oh, okay.
But no, I wasn't doing,
Yeah, you weren't with
big
El Chapo. Yeah.
yeah, I wasn't that shit. I was
Wow.
when you put that uniform on, nobody asks you any
No, of
questions.
course not. Yeah. Okay, it's a captain. Holy crow. Let's buy this guy a drink. Yeah. No one's gonna think anything. Yeah.
Exactly. Hmm. And so, anyway, that I did that while I was
Yeah.
in the Merchant Marine, and then I ended up being the bank robber. And oh, but on the bank robber thing,
Yeah.
me and two guys we robbed a bank, right? And
Yeah.
we were doing it to buy coke,
Yeah.
and so you get about $8,000 in
Yeah.
one of these robberies, and that'll buy you a few
That's enough for
ounces,
a little
and
party. Yeah.
you're partying with some bitches, having a good time,
Yes, sir.
And so uh, I ran out, and so I need to go get some more. And one of the girls that was hanging out with us, uh, she'd been like with us for days,
Yeah.
getting high. She had to go home, and then she wanted to come back. And so I drop her off. I go and pick up some dope, and I'm coming back through this neighborhood in Houston, and the area is called Club Creek, but
Club
everybody
Creek.
calls it Club Crack.
Club crack. Yeah.
And so there's prostitutes all over the street, and there's dope dealers out on the street and all that
Yeah.
shit. And I'm just passing through. I
Yeah.
got
You're just
my
walking
shit
by.
right,
Yeah.
and so I'm just passing through, and a cop sees white
Oh
guy,
no.
black neighborhood at night, and so I'm like, I pull up to an intersection. I
Oh
stop.
no.
I wasn't fucked up or anything. I was perfect, stone cold sober.
Yeah.
But I had an ounce of coke on me, and
Yeah. That'll do it.
so the cops see me. They're just sitting in a parking lot, and they
Oh
see me, white
man.
guy, black neighborhood at night, and so they lit me up. And so Houston police have a bad habit of shooting you in your car,
Oh my
and they
god.
get away with it in Texas, right?
Yeah.
And so they they lit me up. And so it's dark, night, and it's like misty raining. And so visibility is poor.
That's
And
scary.
so
Yeah.
I'm thinking to myself, these guys might shoot me in the fucking car.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be shot in the car on a dark
No.
street.
Good God.
So my first thought was, you're going to go to a well lit area and pull over.
Smart. Absolutely.
And so they lit me up, and I took off to go to the well lit area. Well, when I got to this, big service station with tons of
Yeah.
lights, I didn't see the cops. I said, fuck this. I jumped back on the freeway, and they'd already called in the helicopters, right?
Holy shit.
And so I'm driving down the freeway doing 60, and I don't see cops nowhere, but they're above
You
me.
just hear.
No, you
Oh
can't
my
hear
god. Really?
it. No. And so, I mean, they're not like right on top of
Okay.
you, right? And then you got the news choppers, they're coming in too, right? And so I'm just driving down the freeway. I don't see no police. So I get off,
Oh
I
my
make a
god.
turn, go into a fucking cul-de-sac. And I didn't know it was a cul-de-sac. It was just a street to turn off on, for the getaway. And
Yeah.
so it happens to be a cul-de-sac. And I pull in this cul-de-sac, and it's a circle. And
Oh
I'm like,
shit.
oh, fuck,
Damn.
I'm cornered.
It's it.
And then I see the lights, and they're coming. And so I'm like, oh, shit, what the fuck am I going to do? And so I pull into the circle. I do a 180 to head back out. And I'm
Yeah.
seeing cops. Two cops come driving right past me. They do 180s, and they're
Yeah.
behind me. Two cops come pulling up in front of me, and they stop like, I don't know, 50 feet away or something.
Yeah.
But they stop on the each is on one side of the
Yeah.
road, left and right.
Yeah.
Well, guess what?
There's
That
a
left the
middle
whole
lane.
fucking
Yeah.
middle open.
Oh, middle's open. And the two guys
Yeah,
behind you can't go through the middle. Yeah.
exactly. So I
Yeah.
was like, you know what, fuck it. And I took off again, right down the middle. And so that's on the news video.
Yeah.
I punked those cops. They were so fucking pissed.
Oh, I can't
And
imagine. Yeah.
I took off, and I made a couple of turns, and then the street's slick, and I end up jumping on the center median, and my drive wheel, my right wheel, or right wheel, yeah, drive wheel, right wheel, uh, comes off the ground, so I can't
Damn.
move anymore,
No,
and
that's
so I'm
it.
fucked. And so I'm like, shit. So I got my ounce of coke, and I'm gonna
Yeah.
run. I get
Yeah.
out of that car and I start running. And I head down this embankment, and it's dark. I can't see what's at the bottom of it. At the bottom of it is a marsh.
No.
Yeah. And so I go running
You
down
jump
this
in.
freaking
Plop.
hill, and I hit the marsh, and the marsh is like quicksand.
Oh no.
And so I can't run anymore. And so I'm like, I'm fucked. So I turn around, and here come the cops are coming down the hill too. And I turn around and I raise my arms,
Yeah, of course.
look down, and I see laser sights on my chest
That's
dancing.
terrifying.
Yeah. And I'm waiting for the bullet to fly,
Yeah.
but it didn't.
No
It
kidding.
didn't fly. I
Yeah.
can't believe it. And so
Yeah.
I'm standing there like this, and
Wow.
one of the cops comes down, and instead of ordering me out,
He
which
just
I
gets
would
you?
have done,
Yeah.
he comes in to get me. I'm
Hmm.
like, this stupid motherfucker.
Yeah, it's a
And
marsh.
so
What is he doing? Yeah.
in the marsh, yeah. And so he comes in to get me. And the first thing they do when they come
Yeah.
up to you, they're forcing you on your
Oh,
knees,
yeah,
right?
yeah. You're in the
So he
ground.
comes in, he grabs me by the head, and he's pushing my head down. I'm in a marsh. You push
Yeah, your
my
face is
head
gonna get in the
underwater, I
water.
drown, you know? And he does
Yeah.
exactly that, pushes
Yep.
my head underwater.
Oh my
And so
god.
what am I going to do when I'm drowning? I'm going to
Yeah. You got a
struggle.
flail. Yeah.
Yeah. And so when I started that, he grabs me by the hair. I had hair then.
Yeah.
And he grabs me by the hair and collar and shit. And he drags me to the shore. And there were like, I don't know how many other
I
cops
can't
there were.
imagine how many. Yeah.
And they drag me to the shore. And these guys start beating me.
I can't,
And
yeah.
I don't know if you can, I'm going to show you. I don't know if you can see this. Look at the top of my head.
With a little dent,
No, there's scars.
scars.
Mm-hmm.
That's
I'll
from
send you
oh, is that from the
stills of these.
batons?
No, that was from their fists and boots.
No way.
Maybe they might have
Damn.
used batons
Yeah.
too. But I never went unconscious. And so they just beat the shit out of me. And they're so pissed off at me. They didn't call for an ambulance. These
Yeah.
motherfuckers, I'm covered in mud,
Yeah,
head to
just
toe.
beating you.
These
Yeah.
motherfuckers put me in the back of a police car while and I'm bleeding, got blood
Yeah.
running down my face, and these wounds got all that nasty water in it,
Yeah.
right? So they're
Just
getting infected,
infected. Yeah.
and they don't call the ambulance and let the ambulance do anything. They put me in the back of the police car, and they think they're going to drive me to jail like that,
Yeah.
but then they realize we better take him to the
Yeah.
hospital.
Yeah.
And so they took me to the hospital. But when they go in the hospital, they badmouth me to the nurses and shit,
Mhm.
right? They just stick me in a room and lock me in the fucking room, covered in mud.
They don't
Nobody
clean you up?
looks at me. No, nobody did shit. I'm
Wow.
sitting there for freaking hours. And so eventually I'm like raising hell, screaming and
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah, you could
And
very
so,
easily die. Yeah.
yeah. And so finally, the next morning, they admit me to a room,
Mhm.
and they let me take a shower, and then I don't know, I felt like being an asshole or something. I
Yeah.
started raising hell again, and the hospital calls and goes, "Get him out of here." So they took me to fucking jail,
Oh my god.
and I get to jail, and this Harris County Jail in
Mhm.
Houston. I get to jail, and and they put me. I'm in a wheelchair, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm playing up this shit, right? I didn't
Yeah.
need a wheelchair.
Yeah.
And so they, they have the infirmary and they take me there and they leave me handcuffed in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
So I pretend that I'm passing out and I pass out in the
Oh,
wheelchair and just
no.
pull it down
Just
on
fall.
top of me.
Oh, no.
So they take me back to the hospital. That the doctors see me at that hospital and they're like, "Oh my God,
Yeah, you're in
dude,
horrible
this
shape.
shit is so infected." And they
Yeah.
did surgery on my head. And so I had to be I spent weeks in the hospital because I got
Oh
so
my
infected.
god.
And and they had me on IV antibiotics,
Yeah.
chained to a hospital bed.
Yeah.
And so anyway, I did like 6 months over that shit. But they never connected me to the bank robbery.
So you just got wow.
Oh, another reason I ran is the car that I was in was the one we used in the last robbery.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so I
That's
thought,
an easy matchup. Yeah.
yeah, but they didn't. They didn't connect me to it. And so anyway, I friggin' I did 6 months. They let me out. And in Houston, when they let you out of jail, it's in the middle of the fucking night at
Oh
1
my
a.m.
god.
And you're in the nastiest fucking part of downtown Houston where the
Yeah.
jail is.
I can imagine. Yeah.
And so they throw you out, you have no money on you. And they
Yeah.
gave those paper suits they give you like hazmat
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
Okay, they gave me one of them to wear. And then they gave me my clothes back from
Yeah.
6 months with the mud on
With
them.
the mud and
I
the
can't wear
dirt.
that shit.
Yeah.
They gave them back to me, they'd saved them. And so, but I had to throw that shit away. So I'm walking around Houston, no money, middle of the night with wearing a paper suit.
Yeah.
And so I go into a Walgreens and I steal me a polo in a Walgreens. And so then I look a little more,
Yeah.
you know,
Fancier. Yeah.
human. And
Yeah.
but it was weird. I'm wearing that shirt, and people think I'm a doctor. And so
What?
they're actually calling me whenever I go somewhere. They're saying doctor this, doctor that, and I'm
Yeah.
like,
Alright, I'll
so
take it. Yeah.
the next morning, uh, I decide I'm going to get better clothes.
Yeah.
And so I go to one of those stores I used to boost at, and I go into it's called Foley's, and I go in the store, and stupid move. Oh my god, I want to kick myself for this. You never boost at a store at 9 a.m. when they first
Oh,
open.
no.
There's
Yeah,
nobody
everybody's on
in
the
there, and
yeah.
loss prevention is just sitting around doing nothing.
Yeah.
You know. So I go in there and I boost me a Houston Texans David Carr jersey,
Yeah.
pair of sweatpants, and I put that shit on in the dressing room. and I go walking out. Right when I got past the detectors,
Yeah.
the detectors didn't go off for some
Really?
reason,
Hmm.
but they were watching me on camera.
Oh,
I get
no.
right past that, and then they
They gotcha.
tackle
Oh my god, over a David Carr? Man, I guess they really loved him,
David Carr,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Guess they loved
And
him.
so, huh?
I guess they
What?
loved him, I don't know.
Oh, you know who he is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quarterback, right? Yeah.
Yeah, he was
Way
the first
back, yeah,
quarterback for the
yeah,
Houston Texans ever.
yeah.
And so they sacked him so many times that he had to
They're just
quit.
trying to yeah, 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 they saw the David Carr, just sack him. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
70. I think they got him 72 times in the first season. And
God,
so
man.
they tore his ass up. But
Yeah.
anyway, they tackle me and they call the cops, and the cops come, and then they find out that I'd just been released from jail 8 hours earlier.
Yeah,
And then the judge is fucking pissed.
yeah.
What? Well, you know what? I'm going to give you 9 months this time. And so I ended up doing another 9 months. And now we're getting to Hollywood. I get
Yeah,
really okay. Remember those people I told you about? I'd call them and get them send me money.
yeah.
I made friends with another woman who I
Okay.
never ever met.
Yeah.
She invested a bunch of money in some of these bullshit projects.
Yeah.
So she and I remained in contact when I was in jail.
Yeah.
And so she was sending me money for commissary and shit. And
Wow.
so when I get out of jail, I call Janet. And so Janet says, "Well, what are you thinking of doing?" And I said, "I don't know." I said, "I'm, homeless, I'm
Yeah.
penniless." And she goes, I said, "I'm thinking I'm going to go to LA." And she goes, "Well, you might as well. You wear out your welcome in Texas."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Yep." She
Fair
goes,
enough, yeah.
uh, "Where's the nearest Western Union?" I said, "I think it might be at the Greyhound station." She goes, "Go there. There'll be money waiting for you." And
No
so
kidding.
she bought me a bus ticket. I got on a bus on, I think it was May 4th or May 3rd of 2005,
Yeah.
and got on the bus. And 52 hours later, I'm in LA. And so
Wow.
the second job, okay, this. Oh well, let me give you the whole
Yeah,
LA thing too.
of course.
The bus stop, the Greyhound station in Los Angeles is on Skid Row. And
Really?
Skid Row is a real fucking place,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
It's not like you hear about it. Like when I came to LA, I thought Skid Row was like
It was like
mythical.
a yeah, it was yeah. It's like Atlantis.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's real deal, dude. It exists in Los Angeles. And that's where that bus station is. So when I get off that bus at 4 a.m. on a Sunday
Oh,
morning,
yeah. That's lunch meat.
they
Yeah.
these dope dealers and hustlers and all these are surrounding me. "Hey
Yeah.
man, what's up?" Trying to see if I got some money, right?
Yeah.
And if I was a girl, they'd be trying to turn me out to do
Yeah.
tricks and shit.
Yeah.
And so, you know how many girls come here, wanting to be a star and shit, and they end up being a hoe
Oh,
on
yeah.
Skid Row.
Yeah.
And so, anyway, so I'm like, "Leave me alone, get out of here." And so I walk out. I don't know where the fuck I'm at, and I run into this guy who happens to have the same last name as me, Walker.
Hmm.
And he and I start talking. He says, "I know where you can stay." And I
Yeah.
said, "What?" He goes, "There's a mission down here on Winston Street." He goes, "You can
Hmm.
stay there." And he goes, "Come on, we got to go over there because they do a lottery on the beds." And so it's like 6, 5, 6 in the morning on Sunday.
Yeah.
He goes, "Let's go over there and see if we can
Hmm.
get you a bed there." Well, I happen to win the lottery and I get the
No
bed.
kidding. Wow.
We don't get a bed. And
Yeah.
so I get in this mission. And so they feed you there and everything. And they give
Mhm.
you some clothes. I had the clothes on my back, literally.
Yeah.
And I had half the money that Janet gave me because I spent half of it on the bus ticket.
Yeah.
And so I got that. That's all I got. And so anyway, I'm living in the mission. And they tell me, they said, "Look, you can only stay 28 days because that's a tenant landlord law here
Oh,
they have
okay.
here."
That makes
They
sense.
said, "But if you want to stay longer, if you help us clean up, you can stay as long as you want."
Hmm.
And I'm like, okay,
That's
I'll
not a
do
bad
that.
deal. Yeah.
That would mean I'm pushed to mop in a
Yeah.
jail, you know.
Yeah.
And so, oh, I got to tell you about that jail too.
Okay.
And so, but anyway, so I said, okay, I'll help you. They said, okay, your job's going to be to clean the bathroom. Like, it's the shittiest
Yeah,
job you
I
can
guess,
get.
yeah.
Well, it's on Skid Row. Homeless people take showers and do all their business there
Yeah.
every morning. And I'm the
Yeah.
guy that's clean up after a bunch
Yeah.
of homeless people. It's the most disgusting
Yeah.
job I've ever fucking seen.
I bet that's worse than the
But
marsh,
I did
yeah.
it. I
Yeah.
fucking did it to keep a roof over my head. And so, yeah, I ain't gonna do that for very long,
No.
right?
My god.
So they got like these people that help you find jobs and shit like that. So I went to them and I said, "Look, I need to get a job. I just don't want to do this anymore." And they said, "Okay." And we got another area we're going to move into, and these are the working people.
Yeah.
And you stay here until you get on your feet. Okay, no problem. So I got one job, bullshit telemarketing job. It didn't last long. And then uh, not on Craigslist. I found it in a back then you had to find shit in the newspaper in the
Yeah.
classified, right?
Yeah.
I find a job in a classified and I go and apply for the job. And the guy hires me because I had experience raising money.
Yeah.
Well, this is raising money for the movie industry.
Oh, wow.
And so he hires me to raise money for a movie called Angels with Angles. And it's Rodney Dangerfield's last
No
movie
kidding.
before he died. And it's the guy, you watched the original Batman, right?
Yeah.
Okay, the guy who
With
played
Keaton?
the Riddler on the original Batman is a guy named Frank Gorshin. These
Okay.
two guys are in the movie together, and it's both their last movies.
Wow.
Okay.
That's a pretty big deal, Rodney's last
Yeah,
movie? Yeah.
and they do this movie, and they both die.
Yeah.
And so Rodney's last two movies, this just interests the shit out of me.
Mhm.
Some people probably think it's bullshit, but Rodney's last two movies were Little Nicky. Remember
Yeah.
that?
Devil movie, yeah.
And then he's the devil.
Yeah.
And in Angels with Angles, he's
Hmm.
God.
Hmm. That is
And
interesting.
so and so just the in my mind, this is cool. His last two movies, he's the devil and God. And then he dies and he gets to meet them both. What's up with that? You know,
That's interesting.
I know. And
Yeah.
so anyway, so I start working for that place, and I'm raising money right from the fucking start, dude. I mean,
Yeah.
just right and left.
Popping, popping,
Okay,
popping, yeah.
yeah. And so about 6 months later, it's time for the world premiere of Angels with Angles, and
Okay.
I'm talking Hollywood. They premiered it in New York and Hollywood.
Yeah.
I'm talking a Hollywood red carpet premiere.
Yeah.
I'm a producer on this
Ha!
movie
That's
six
incredible.
months after getting out of jail in
That's
Houston, Texas
that's
for
wild.
bank robbery. Bam.
Man.
And dude, once I walked that red carpet, I was hooked.
Yeah.
I was fucking hooked. And I did, I produced on a lot of other
Yeah.
movies, walked some more red carpets. But you know what? It's horrible karma because you're stealing money from people.
Yeah.
And I'm bullshitting them into giving me their goddamn money.
Yeah, of
And
course.
so it's horrible karma.
Yeah.
And so everything was fucked up.
Yeah.
I've got money out the ass. I
Yeah.
made $30,000 in 1 month doing that. And so, but it's horrible karma. Everything's
No.
fucked up.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I ain't gonna do this shit no more.
Yeah.
And so uh I'm I'm walking down Hollywood Boulevard one day,
Mhm.
and I sent you that pic, right? Of the girl.
Um, I don't know. I don't
I'll
remember you
send it
sending
to you.
that.
I
Yeah.
will send it to you. You'll be
Fantastic.
able to show this.
Great.
I'm walking down Hollywood Boulevard one day, going to the grocery store. I get my groceries and I'm coming back. And on have you been to Hollywood?
I have not.
Okay. on the boulevard, they have people that dress up as characters and work
Okay.
for tips, and they get the tourists to pay them money to
Yeah.
take pics.
Yeah.
And so one of them was a Catwoman, right,
Okay.
from the Batman movies.
Yeah.
And so, anyway, she was a friend of mine. I called her Kitty. And
Okay.
so I'm walking back, and Kitty comes up to me and she goes, John, she goes, my friends are shooting a short film. She goes, would you be in it and help them out? And I'm like, sure, what I got to do? And she goes, they come up to me and they said, look, we just need you to be a homeless guy. And I go,
Okay.
what do you want me to do? And they said, we want you to sit down here. And it's the Hollywood Walk of Fame, where all the
Yeah.
stars are,
Yeah.
in front of the TCL Chinese Theater. At that time, it's called Grauman's.
Okay.
And this is where they world premiere movies at.
Wow.
Sitting on that sidewalk, the Hollywood Walk of Fame, in front of that theater. And I said, what do you want me to do? They said, just sit here. And while I'm
Hmm.
sitting there, this beautiful girl comes walking up to me, and she's got a handful of money.
Hmm.
Now, I'm a 55-year-old man now, right?
Yeah.
And she's got a handful of money, and she walks up to me, and she dressed like a stripper, right?
Okay.
Because she is a stripper, actually.
Okay.
So she's dressed like a stripper. She walks up to me, takes the money, and rains money on me like you
Hmm.
do at a strip club
Yeah.
to a stripper. And so I'm like, okay.
That's not a bad gig. Yeah.
And she, yeah, how great is that, right? And then they said, pick up the money, that's your pay. And I was like, oh, really? So it's a
Hmm.
bunch of singles. So I pick them up. It's like $20.
Okay.
And so that's my first movie role. And
Huh.
when I did that, I thought, hmm, maybe I can do this more.
Yeah.
And, I told you I did the court shows first
Yeah.
to get used to being on camera. And then I was booking court shows off of Craigslist.
Yeah.
So I was like, shit, maybe Craigslist got acting gigs.
Yeah.
Dude, one after another, after another, after another, after another. And that's where we are today.
Wow. That's a that's a hell of a lot more than even I expected. I expected this story to be interesting, but from the Branch Davidians to grubbing up Skid Row, wow. That's
Every
that's
guy, every damn word is true. I'm not making
yeah.
anything up.
Yeah. I feel
And
like you
and
would
there
have
have
to
been
practice it so much. Yeah. Good
yeah.
lord, that's incredible.
You know how people come to Hollywood to be
Yeah.
stars, and
Yeah.
a couple of years they don't make it and they're
No.
gone.
Yeah.
Dude, I was 45 when I got here. I'm
Yeah.
65 now.
Yeah.
I did it.
Yeah,
I
you got there with a
fucking did it.
Greyhound ticket. You didn't even
No,
yeah, you didn't have a Camry. Yeah.
no. Huh. I
Yeah.
still don't own a car in Los Angeles. Because see,
Really? Wow. Yeah.
because of this, they won't give me a driver's license.
Really?
Yeah, I have a traumatic brain injury,
Oh, wow. Damn.
and and every freaking thing in my life works perfectly.
Yeah.
I mean, I just can't believe the way this has all
Yeah.
worked out. And there's so many times I thought to myself, maybe it's time for you to go home
Yeah.
because I haven't seen my family in 20 years. I got two
Really?
kids.
Wow.
Yeah, my daughter's 37, my son's 30, and I haven't seen them.
Wow.
And I thought to myself, maybe it's time for you to go home. But then something will happen so
Yeah.
extraordinary,
Just fate
you
will
know.
occur, and then boom, Dracula Flo has 10 million views, and now everybody's hitting you up for interviews on podcasts. Yeah. Things are crazy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Oh, and I
Wow.
want to say one thing about okay, the this week okay, they own Dracula Flow.
Yeah, of
The
course.
record company does, right?
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I'm I'm him,
Yeah.
right?
You're him. Yeah, of
So,
course.
you know what? I decided I'm gonna start the cult of Dracula. And like I
Yeah.
said, I wanted to be a cult leader. I got me a cult
And here
now.
we
And
are. Yeah.
you saw the post.
Yeah. It's
I said
growing.
to everybody, I said,
Yeah.
if send me a pic, put your tag on it.
Yeah.
pick your title for the Cult of Dracula, send me a pic, dude. I have hundreds.
Everybody's yeah, it's crazy. It's
It's
growing.
uh-huh.
Just don't end
And
up
I'm not
like
like a
Koresh,
David
yeah.
Koresh
Yeah,
trying
don't
to
have
do
any
shit.
grenades or any automatic weapons, and I'm sure you'll be fine. I don't think the ATF will.
I haven't owned a gun in 25 years.
Yeah, that's good, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that's incredible. That's an incredible story. I have one last question. This is an audience I was asking, okay, consensus, what should
Don't
I
ask
ask
me
this
about
man?
Joji.
No, it's not gonna be about Joji. This is gonna be a really, really exciting one. Have you ever had a prostate orgasm?
No.
And that's it, folks. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you.
That was it?
That was the question. I mean, that's what the audience was wanting to know, and they were dying to know. That was the number one question that they
Oh,
requested.
I want to say something because
Yes,
if
sir.
Dracula, you're going to post this on my
Okay.
social
Yeah.
media, and
Yeah.
Dracula Flow people are going to see this.
Yeah.
There's a stupid video they keep sending me of Senator John Kennedy in Louisiana talking about lubing up a dick and
Yeah.
he's like reading out of. Have you seen that video?
Yeah. I've seen it. Yeah.
Okay, don't send me that motherfucker. And I'm telling these people, I've actually blocked people for that.
Yeah.
Don't
Percent.
send me that motherfucker because I don't want to play that fucking game with you. I'm not into it. You know, Dracula Flow might have homosexual references or
Yeah.
whatever, but dude, it's a script.
Yeah.
I'm reading a freaking
Yeah.
script. It don't mean
It's not your soul. Yeah. You're not one
know,
to gargle
and
nothing.
I don't
Yeah.
want to talk about lubing up a dick and putting it in another man's ass. It's just
Yeah.
not me. You know,
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about
Yeah.
that. Now you want to
If
talk
that's a
about
script I've
lubing
been
up.
paid for, yeah, a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you want to talk about lubing up my dick and putting it in some. I don't even want to put it in a woman's ass. Tell you the truth.
I feel that, man. That's
So,
incredible. Well,
You
thank.
said you had some extra questions, though, didn't you? That was it. That one
That was
question.
it. I was not expecting to get so much incredible stuff. This completely my plans were changed just by hearing this incredible story. Honestly, I'm in kind of awe listening to it. I'm very impressed. But
Oh,
thank
I
you all
didn't
for
tell
listening.
you. You know
Oh,
what? There's one. I'll
there's
tell you
more.
a
Okay,
story that
this
nobody has ever been told.
sounding pod exclusive.
Yes,
Wow.
absolutely.
Okay,
I
we're
mean,
ready
people
for it.
know what
Yeah,
happened,
of course.
but I've
But
never ever told this. Okay. I grew up in a nice Christian home.
yeah,
I had the best parents you could ever ask for. They're
yeah,
married for 39 years till death did they part when my dad died.
yeah.
Okay. These people worked their asses off.
Mhm.
I mean, so hard. They gave their four kids, I have three sisters, one older, one twin, and one younger. They gave us the best of everything.
Yeah,
I mean, we never missed a meal. We had clothes on our back.
yeah,
We lived in a beautiful 5 bedroom home. I mean, it was a wonder, the best life kids could ever ask for. Well, I was the genius kid.
yeah.
Okay, my three sisters are like very average. Okay,
Okay.
and my mom. Oh, another thing about my parents, I never ever saw my parents argue one time in my whole life.
Wow.
They didn't, you know how you fight in front of the
Yeah,
kids?
yeah.
That never happened to me.
Hmm.
Okay. But my three sisters, the only attention they could get because I'm getting straight A's was the negative attention,
Mhm.
right? And my mom, she was a wonderful woman,
Mhm.
but she would argue with you. She's a basically a hillbilly from Alabama.
Yeah.
She would love to argue with you, but she didn't argue with my dad ever.
Hmm.
But she would fight with my sisters, right? I've got three sisters, and I'm listening to this shit
Mhm.
every freaking day of my life.
Yeah.
And my dad would come and scoop me up and say, "Come on, boy, we're going fishing.
Yeah.
We had a football game. Let's go to the
Yeah.
Daytona 500,
Oh, yeah.
whatever." You know, he would scoop me up to get me out of there. But, he worked all day.
Yeah.
So, I'm there and I'm having to listen to these bitches fight with my mom.
Yeah.
And it was non fucking stop.
Yeah.
Non-fucking stop. So when I was a freshman in high school, and I got a twin sister, she's in the
Mhm.
same grade as me, and my little
Wow.
sister's 1 year behind. And so my mom would work at night on a Navy base, and my dad would get up in the morning, cook everybody breakfast, and uh, and then he'd go to work, and then we go to school. So anyway, my grandma gave me this gun. It was a little
Yeah.
32
Yeah.
caliber
Yeah,
automatic.
well, little Berettas, yeah, yeah.
hmm And so she gives me the gun, and so I'm 15. I got my first gun, blah blah blah. And so me and my brother-in-law, we took it out to range and we fired it and
Mhm.
shot the clip out.
Yeah.
But there's one thing we didn't do. We left
What?
one in the chamber. We didn't know it.
Okay.
And so anyway, the day after that, I'm in the kitchen in the morning before school, and I'm
Mhm.
cleaning my gun.
Oh, no. Yeah.
I got the clip out. So my little sister comes down and she sees what I'm doing. And she goes, "You're not supposed to be playing with that." I was like, "Shut up. It's ain't none of your business." And so
Yeah.
you know what? I picked up the gun. I took it. I pointed at her. She's 3 feet away from me, sitting at a table. We're both sitting.
Yeah.
I pointed the gun at her right between her freaking eyes. And I said, "Shut up." And I pulled the trigger 3 times. The gun didn't fire. Well, of course, she pissed her pants when I did
Yeah.
that. And so my twin sister, she sees what was happening, and she walks in the room. And so I see her here. She walks in,
Yeah.
and I was like, "You know what? You
You
shut the
shut
fuck
up.
up, too." And I swung the gun around, and she was like 4 feet away. And I pulled the trigger one more time, and the goddamn gun fired. I hit my twin sister in the left leg.
No way.
The bullet came out of her left leg, went through both lips of her vagina,
Holy crow.
into her right leg, and the eighth hole was where they surgically removed that bullet. She had to learn how to walk again. But the when this happens, right, I'll
Yeah.
never forget. She's standing there. I pull the trigger, the gun fires. She's wearing yellow corduroy Levi's. And when it hits her, they literally became crimson Levi's, like that quick with the blood.
Yeah.
And so she looks down, bam, she
Yeah.
passes
Passes
out.
out. Yeah.
And so this is before 911's invented, dude. Okay.
Yeah.
And so you got to call the operator and say,
Mhm.
"Operator, can you send an ambulance?"
Yeah.
And so me and my I don't remember if it was me or my sister called the operator. I don't remember who did that.
Mhm.
But anyway, we're over with my twin sister. She's on the floor, passed out, covered in blood. And so anyway, uh, we're with her. And so I grabbed my little sister and I said, "This is what fucking happened." Okay. I said, "I was reaching up in that cabinet to get me some Fritos." And
Yeah.
I said, I pulled, how those lunch things with all the little bitty bags in them, and it
Yeah, yeah,
comes
yeah,
in.
yeah.
Yeah.
Big old pack,
And
yeah.
so I was reaching in there, and the gun was on in
Mhm.
that cabinet. And when I pulled that box, the gun fell out, and it came flying down, and it hit the top of the refrigerator. And in the process of falling to the ground, it fired and shot
Mhm.
her. That's the story we're telling the police. Okay.
Yeah.
Police show up. They said, "What happened?" I said, "Man, I was getting some Fritos. I pulled the thing down. The gun hit the fridge. Boom, it fired." And they looked at my little sister. "Is that what happened?" "Yeah, that's what happened." And
Wow.
so my twin sister, she's passed out, right?
Yeah.
She's in the ambulance on the way to the hospital. And so then my mom gets home, and so of course we lied to her too.
Yeah.
And so anyway, I never did 1 minute in a jail cell. You know, nowadays, if that happens,
Yeah.
you're going to jail if you're a
Yeah.
teenager. Your mom
Yeah.
and dad are getting charged
Yeah.
too, right?
Everybody's getting
Back
charged. Yeah.
then, nobody did.
Yeah.
And so I never spent 1 minute in jail cell. They bought the story. Everything was fine.
Wow.
And my sister, she's still, well, I assume she's still alive. I haven't talked to her in a while, but you know, that was 1974, I think. And so anyway, uh, you know,
That's
I shot my twin sister, and you got the
that's
excuses.
that's the Sounding Pod exclusive. Thank you, everybody. A special thank you to John Davis Walker. Incredible.